Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7, The Son of Drona Panish, text number 33. Tata asadya tarasa tata asadya tarasa
Tata asadya tarasa Darunam Gautami Sutaha
Darunam Gautami Sutam
Darunam Gautami Sutam
Babandha
Amarsha
Tamra Akshaha Babandhamarsa Tamrakshaha Pashu Rasaya Yatha Pasum Rasanaya Yatha Tata asadya tarasa Darunam Gautami Sutam Babandhamarsatam Rakshaha Pasum Rasanaya Yatha Tata asadya tarasa Darunam Gautami Sutam Babandhamarsatam Rakshaha Pasum Rasanaya Yatha Tata asadya tarasa Darunam Gautami Sutam Babandhamarsatam Rakshaha Pasum Rasanaya Yatha.
Tata asadya tarasa Darunam Gautami Sutam Babandhamarsa Tamaraksha Pashum Rasanaya Yatha
Tata asadya tarasa Darunam Gautami Sutam Babandhamarsa Tamarakshaha Pashum Rasanaya Yatha.
Tata asadya tarasa Darunam Gautami Sutam Babandhamarsatam Rakshaha Pashum Rasanaya Yatha
Tata asadya tarasa Darunam Gautami Sutam Babandharmasya tam Rakshasa Pasum Rasanayata Ayata.
Matajis.
Darunam Gautami Sutam Babandhamarsatam Rakshaha Pasum Rasanaya Yatha.
Tata asadya tarasa
Tata sadya tarasa
Darunam Gautami Sutam
Darunam Gautami Sutam
Babandamashratam Tam Raksha
Bhavandhamarshatam Rakshaha
Pasum Rasanaya Yatha
Pasum Rasanaya Yatha Tata asadya tarasa Darunam Gautami Sutam Bhavandhamarshatam Rakshaha Pasum Rasanaya Yatha
Tataha,
Tataha
thereupon, asadya, arrested, tarasa, dexterously, darunam, dangerous, Gautami Sutam, the son of Gautami, babandha, bound up, amarsha, angry, tamra akshaha, with copper red eyes, pashum, animal, rashanaya, by ropes, yatha, as it were. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Arjuna, his eyes blazing in anger like two red balls of copper, dexterously arrested the son of Gautami and bound him with ropes like an animal. Kindly repeat. Arjuna, his his eyes blazing in anger, like two red balls of copper, dexterously arrested the son of Gautami and bound him with ropes like an animal. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Ashwathama's mother, Kripi, was born in the family of Gautama. The significant point in this sloka is that Ashwathama was caught and bound up with ropes like an animal. According to Sridhara Swami, Arjuna was bound to catch this son of a Brahmana like an animal as a part of his duty, dharma. This suggestion by Sridhara Swami is also confirmed in the later statement of Sri Krishna. Ashwathama was a bona fide son of Dronacharya and Kripi, but because he had degraded himself to a lower status of life, it was proper to treat him as an animal and not as a Brahmana. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namavom Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vashatya Desatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yatkripātamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dīnataranam. So here Ashwathama is being addressed as Gautami Sutta. Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that Ashwathama was the son of Dronacharya and Kripi. Kripi was the twin sister of Kripacharya. And Kripacharya and Kripi were the descendants of Gautama Rishi. Therefore, Kripi is being addressed as Gautami. From his father's side, Ashwathama was the son of Dronacharya, the great Brahmana, highly qualified, highly respected, and even in his actions, Dronacharya was qualified Brahmana in all aspects. Similarly, from his mother's side also, Ashwathama had a great lineage. Kripi again was not an ordinary woman. She was a descendant in the line of Gautama Rishi. So from both the side of his mother as well as his father, Ashwathama had a great lineage. And it was expected that being born of such great parents, of such great lineage, and who themselves were of great qualification, it was expected that Ashwatthama will prove himself to be a good Brahmana. But unfortunately, by his action of trying to kill Parikshit Maharaj, who was within the womb of his mother, and then trying to kill Arjuna with another Brahmastra, when Ashwatthama did not know how to retrieve or how to withdraw the weapon, all indicated that Ashwatthama was unqualified. Although parentage-wise he had great parents. So this is another indication in the Vedic scriptures of how a person does not become a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra simply on the basis of his birth. His actions also have to correspond to the particular Varna in which he is born. Otherwise, he will be called a Brahma Bandhu or a Kshatra Bandhu, a relative of a Brahmana or a relative of a Kshatriya, not as a Brahmana or as a Kshatriya. As we will see in the later verses also, Ashwatthama will be referred to as a Brahma Bandhu, as a relative of a Brahmana, not as a Brahmana himself, because by his actions he did not qualify himself to be a Brahmana. So what is actually a Brahmana? Normally we are used to the current day Indian caste system, where Brahmana means you have to have a thread across your shoulder, and that is the indication that you are a Brahmana. Like there was some controversy going on in India about one politician, that he is not for Hindus, he is anti-Hindu and all that. So immediately the opposing party, when they made this allegation, then the other party, they said, no, he is a Janivdari Brahman. So he wears a Upavita and he is a Brahmana. And next day there is a photograph of him sitting on the beach with his mother and eating fish. Janivdari Brahman is sitting and eating fish. So current day India, the Brahmana means he has to be born in a family. He does not have to engage in any sort of activities of a Brahmana. Whereas actually Brahmana means there are certain qualifications to be fulfilled. What is the fundamental definition of the word Brahmana? Brahmana means Brahman Janati iti Brahmanaha. One who understands, one who is able to differentiate between spirit and matter. One who has dedicated his life for the inquiry into spiritual subject matter, as the Vedanta Sutra states, Athato Brahma Jijnasa. One whose life is dedicated for Brahma Jijnasa, and one who has, by such dedication and by such study, who has understood what is Brahman, what is spirit, and what is Jadavastu, what is matter. I am not the body, I am a spirit soul. Such a person is called a Brahmana. And unlike current day misconception, Brahmana, just becoming a Brahmana alone does not mean that he has achieved the highest status. According to the Garuda Purana, Brahmananam sahasrebhyah satrayaji visishyate. Out of thousands and thousands of Brahmanas, means people who have understood I am not the body, I am a spirit soul, satrayaji visishyate. Out of all of them, if there is somebody who knows how to conduct various fire sacrifices expertly, he is considered a superior to a normal Brahmana. There may be many Brahmanas who have understood little bit of the Vedas and all that. But if somebody is understood all that and he is expert in performing yajnas, satrayaji, so such a person is called, he is superior to an ordinary Brahmana. And satrayaji sahasrebhyah, if there are thousands and thousands of such experts in performing yajnas, Sarva Vedanta Paragaha, one who has understood the conclusion of the Vedas. There will be hardly one person out of thousands of such persons who are expert in conducting yajnas who will have understood the conclusion of the Vedas. Such a person is even superior. And Sarva Vedanta with Kotya, out of crores and crores of such people who have understood the conclusion of the Vedas, Vishnu Bhakto Vishishyate, hardly one person you will find who will be a devotee of Vishnu, who will be a Vaishnava. And such a Vaishnava is superior even to a person who has studied the Vedanta Sutras and understood their complete meaning and understood the essence of the Vedas. So, This is the position of a Vaishnava. Vaishnava is far superior to a normal Brahmana. And as we all know, Vaishnava does not necessarily mean that he has to be born in a Brahmana family. Even if he is born in a family of a Chandala or a Mlecha or a Yavana, if he takes up the process of bhakti to Vishnu or Krishna, he becomes a Vaishnava. So such a Vaishnava is far, far superior to even a person who has studied all the Vedantas and he is a great scholar in the Vedas. So, in fact, it is said that if a person is a Vaishnava, then even all the Devatas will offer their respects to such a person. Such is the position of a Vaishnava. Now, the Garuda Purana interestingly further states, Vaishnavanam Sahasrebhya. There is somebody superior even to a Vaishnava. Out of thousands and thousands of people who may be a Vaishnava, there is somebody who is really, really special. First of all, Brahmanas are very small section of the society. Brahmanana Sahasrebhya. Out of thousands of qualified Brahmanas, hardly one person may be expert in conducting fire sacrifices. Satrayaji Vishishyate. And out of thousands of such experts in conducting fire sacrifices, hardly one person, Sarva Vedanta Paragaha, who is well versed in the entire Vedas and Vedanta and all that. And out of crores of such rarely findable experts in Vedas and Vedanta, Vedanta with Kotya, hardly one person is a Vaishnava. So you can imagine how rare a Vaishnava is. And now the Garuda Purana is saying, out of all thousands of such Vaishnavas, Ekanti Eko Vishishyate. One who is an Ekanti, he is the supermost. There is nobody superior to him. So what is this Ekanti? This Ekanti means one who is single-pointedly devoted. Devoted to what? How do we understand what is this Ekanti? Actually, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami defines what is an Ekanti. He says, Vihaya Pitadevadin Gada Prema Bihi Purno. So, a person who has given up the shelter of all Devatas, Pitras, everything else, and whose heart is filled with love for Krishna, for Hari, such a person is called an Ekanti. Now, what do we understand by this? A devotee of Hari. Hari can refer to Vishnu, Hari can refer to so many other personalities, it can refer to Narayana. So an example of an Ekanti is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 10th canto. Actually what happened was Krishna, when he came from Vrindavan to Mathura, he came because Akrura came to call him. And then Krishna went with Nanda Maharaj and all the Gopas, went to Mathura, and he killed Kamsa, he vanquished Kamsa, and then handed over the kingdom to Ugrasena, and he released Vasudeva and Devaki from the prison of Kamsa, from the clutches of Kamsa. After that, what happened? Then the Vasudeva and Devaki told that Krishna and Balaram, you have to stay with us, we have to do your samskaras, we have to get you educated, so many things are there. So Krishna requested Nanda Maharaj to go back to Mathura, to Vrindavan. And he told him, very quickly, I'll come back after finishing my business here. I will come back to Vrindavan. And so Nanda Maharaj and all the Gopas went back to Vrindavan. And then Vasudeva and Devaki sent Krishna and Balaram to Ujjain, where under Sandipani Muni, in 64 days, they learnt all the 64 kalas. Of course, we understand this, that Krishna is the source of all knowledge. His learning from Sandipani Muni was like our offering the Ganga water back to the Ganga as a worship. So all the knowledge that is there in Krishna was there with Sandipani Muni, and he put it back to Krishna. So this act of Krishna was basically to educate us that nobody can become a learned person on his own. Everyone has to accept a spiritual master. This principle everyone has to follow. So after 64 days, learning everything, Krishna and Balaram, they gave their Dakshina, Guru Dakshina to Sandipani Muni, which was to get back his son who had been taken away in the ocean, and they brought him back. And then Krishna and Balaram came back to Mathura. So practically about little more than 2 months, they were away from Mathura. As soon as Krishna came back from Sandipani Muni, the first thing he did was, he thought of how the residents of Vrindavan must be suffering in separation from me. So he thought, let me send a message to them so that they will be, their sorrow will be a little mitigated. And so he called Uddhava and he spoke to him. And in the Bhagavatam it is said, Tamaha Bhagavan Preshtam Bhaktam Ekantinam Kvachit. So it is referring to Uddhava. Grihitva Panina Panim Prapannartho Haro Harihi. That Hari, Krishna, he Grihitva Panina Panim. He caught the hand of Uddhava and he told him with great affection, he caught the hand of Uddhava. And he told him that you have to take my message to the gopis and to Yasodamai and Nanda Maharaj in Vrindavan. And that is how Uddhava carried the message to Vrindavan, and we know how the Brahmara Gita and all those things happen. So the description of Uddhava is Tamaha Bhagavan Preshtham. Uddhava was the dearest of all the Yadavas to Krishna, because Uddhava was the most exalted devotee of Krishna in Dwaraka and in Mathura, amongst all the Yadavas. Preshtam Bhaktam Ekantinam Kvachit. And Uddhava is described as Ekanti. He is an Ekanti. He is an example of Ekanti. And how do we understand what qualities of Uddhava made him an Ekanti? That is described in the third canto of the Bhagavatam. So, the third canto of the Bhagavatam says, Yaha Panchahayano Matra Pratarashaya Yachitaha. When he was 5 years old, Panchahayanaha, when Uddhava was 5 years old, what happened was, Tannaichat Rachayan Yasya Saparyam Balalilaya. So Balalila, as a small child, 5-year-old child, he was engaged in playing. And what was his play? Saparyam. He was engaged in playing with Radha and Krishna deities. He was playing with Krishna and he was serving him. He was actually serving him. Unlike other small children who would engage in frivolous play, he was Balalila, was engaged as a childhood play, but Saparyam, rendering devotional service to Krishna. And that small boy, 5-year-old boy, who was playing with Krishna in his service, in his devotional service, Matra Pratarashaya Yajetaha. His mother called him in the morning, Prataha, in the morning, Pratar Ashaya, for morning breakfast. She called him, my dear son, please come, Uddhava, come, have breakfast. That Uddhava, as a 5-year-old kid, Tannaichat Rachayan. He did not want to stop his devotional service to Krishna. He said, no, I don't want breakfast, I want to serve Krishna. So you see, a 5-year-old kid, he is, as a 5-year-old child, he is so much absorbed in the service to Krishna that he does not even bother about eating, sleeping, all these things. He has the whips of hunger, thirst, lamentation, these are not affecting him at all. This is an Ekanti. Ekanti means he is completely focused only on Krishna. He does not know anybody else, no Devas, no Pitas, not even Vishnu, not even Narayana. That is how Vaishnava. Vaishnava means he may be a devotee of Vishnu, he may be a devotee of Narayana, he may be a devotee of Lord Rama, he may be a devotee of Narasimha, he may be a devotee of Krishna. All of them are Vaishnavas. But out of all of them, Vaishnavanam Sahasrebi, out of thousands and thousands of such Vaishnavas, Ekanti Vishishyate. Hardly one person you will come who is focused completely only on Krishna to the exclusion of even Vishnu, Narayana, Rama, Narasimha, every other incarnation or expansion. Such a person who is totally focused only on Krishna is the highest devotee, whom you will find very rarely even amongst thousands of Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas themselves are rare. And in that also, to find somebody who is totally dedicated solely only to Krishna, to the exclusion of even Narayana and Vishnu, such a personality is very, very rare. And he is considered the topmost of all. So if you look at the life of Srila Prabhupada, from the beginning, he was dedicated only to Krishna. If you look at the books of Prabhupada, if you look at the life of Prabhupada, he had only Krishna in his life. Not even Vishnu, not even Narayana. And actually, when you read Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita and you read Prabhupada's books, what actually do you become? We all become devotees of Krishna, to the exclusion of all other personalities, all other incarnations. So, the power of such a Vaishnava like Prabhupada, first of all, to get a Vaishnava like Prabhupada, who is solely dedicated to Krishna, very, very rare. And if we come in touch with him, we will also become like him. We also have no attraction for any other form. Okay, we may observe Ram Navami, we may observe Narasimha Chaturdashi, all that is there. But if you ask in our hearts, whose devotee are we? We have only one answer, Krishna. So, such a devotee is very, very, very rare, and his influence is also extremely powerful. So, we are all very fortunate that we have Srila Prabhupada as our Acharya, as our Guru, as our spiritual master. And if we simply stick to Srila Prabhupada and his teachings, we will all become ekantis. We will become focused entirely only on Krishna. Such is the, because we have to understand that all the Vrajavasis, they are all so dedicated to Krishna that they have no attraction for any other form. Just like when Krishna disappeared before the Rasa dance and the gopis were all searching for him in the forests, then what Krishna did, he was hiding behind the bushes, seeing what the gopis are doing. Somehow suddenly the gopis came there and Krishna saw, oh, they are coming towards me. Without the gopis were not aware Krishna is there. They started coming in that direction. So Krishna said, what shall I do now? Where shall I go? So immediately he showed his 400 form and stood there. So when the gopis came there, they saw, oh, who is this? This is Narayana. Narayana, did you see Krishna? No? Stand aside. We are searching for Krishna. They are not interested in the 400 form. They are not interested in Narayana. This pastime, if you go to Sheshasai near Kosi in Vrajmandal, there is the temple of Krishna where he is in an Ananta Shayana, his posture. So the gopis were so focused on Krishna that no other expansion or incarnation would attract them. Although in one sense all of them are the same, but still Krishna's form, 200 form, is very, very special. So Srila Prabhupada, having come from that Goloka Vrindavan, he had the same approach towards devotion to Krishna. He had no other attraction towards any other personality. Prabhupada always presented Krishna as the fountainhead, as the supreme personality of Godhead, and as the source of even Narayana, Vishnu, Rama, Narasimha, everybody else. And this is what all the Shastras state, what the Bhagavatam states, what the Bhagavad Gita states. So, this confidential portion of the Vedas, what Prabhupada has brought out, is possible only because he is an Ekanti. He is totally dedicated only to Krishna. So, to become a completely, solely dedicated devotee of Krishna is a very, very elevated status, which is very rarely obtained even amongst Vaishnavas. So, therefore, if we simply stick to the lotus feet of Prabhupada and Prabhupada's teachings, all perfection is available. We don't have to go anywhere else. No other literature is required, because sometimes people say that Prabhupada did not give everything. There are so many other things that Prabhupada did not teach. Like they talk about, what is that? Siddha Pranali and Gopi Bhava and all those kind of stuff. You don't have to go anywhere else. Prabhupada is an Ekanti himself. We stick to him, we will also become Ekantis. Ultimately, that's what we want, no? What is the use of all the other processes that are there? So, we should not get carried away by such false claims by others. Prabhupada is given the highest, nothing beyond nothing is there to be given other than what Prabhupada has taught us. Simply we stick to Prabhupada's teachings. Whatever is required to be revealed, it will be revealed, and we will become devotees, dedicated, committed devotees of Krishna, and our destination is also very, very clear. If we stick to Prabhupada's instructions and Prabhupada's teachings, and if we stick to Prabhupada, accept Prabhupada as our Diksha Guru and our only Guru, then our destination is very, very clear. Goloka Vrindavan. Not even Vaikuntha, not even any Dwaraka, not Mathura. Goloka Vrindavan. We'll go back to Vrindavan. That is the destination which Srila Prabhupada is offering us. We don't have to go anywhere else. Nothing else more is required. Nothing more is required. There is nothing higher than what Prabhupada has taught. This is the reality. So I'll stop here. If there are any questions or comments, we can discuss. Anybody? No? Yes, please.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the class.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, we talk about the constitutional position as the jiva, and we state that every jiva has a particular relationship with the Lord.
Yes.
And in the pastimes of, for example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we see eternal associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also being devotees of a particular Vishnu form of the Lord. Like we have Murari Gupta.
Yeah.
And even though he was asked to worship Krishna, he
refused. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. So, in that sense, can we infer that even though we are in touch with Prabhupada, who will eventually take us back to the Lord, if the constitutional position is such that, we are meant to serve some other Vishnu form of the Lord, both can simultaneously exist?
Well, the fact is that although a devotee may feel complete in the service of any other form of the Lord, like Narayana or Vishnu or Rama or whatever, there is also the opportunity available for that devotee to upgrade himself. That is also possible. Like for instance, even Lakshmi herself. Lakshmi herself engages in great tapasya to participate in the Rasa Leela. So aspiration is there in Lakshmi Devi also to become an associate of Krishna in Vrindavan, although she is eternally at the lotus feet of Vishnu, Narayana. So what we understand from this is that it is possible for a devotee, if he aspires, if he feels full in whatever status he is in, like Murari Gupta, he will remain there. But if he aspires to grow higher, it is possible. That road is open. Nothing is closed for a devotee. Because perfection in devotional service, there is no end. You can go on perfecting. And the fact is that Srila Prabhupada says in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that if somebody is engaged in the worship of Radha Krishna in the line of the Gaudiya Sampradaya, he will go back to Goloka Vrindavan. It is very much, that is the final destination being offered to us. If somebody is focused on Lord Rama, something like that, he will go to, Krishna will guide him to that Sampradaya, to the respective Sampradaya where he can become a devotee of Lord Rama or he can become a devotee of Narayana. But the very fact that we have come in touch with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that eventually we will have to become devotees of Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. That is the thing being offered to us. But if we settle for something lower, it is up to us. But the fact is, the process given by Prabhupada is actually the process which will elevate us to Goloka Vrindavan. That is how we have to understand. Okay? Any other point?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, please. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, since we are the family, we are having the family, and we are also thinking that we have to give the very good education to our children, so that he can be in the good position. But why we are not concentrating on that? Why don't my children accept the Krishna as the ultimate goal of life? Why are we deviating from there? So I just want to understand.
First of all, we have to understand nobody is nobody's child here. It is all bodily relation. We are already under the bodily relation, under the bodily illusion. We are thinking I am man, I am woman. We are none of these things. And we are thinking these people are my parents because my body has taken birth from them. And some other jivas have taken a body from us, from our body. We think these are my children. First of all, they are not our children. We are not their parents. We are not anybody's children. Our only parent is Krishna. Aham bija prada pita sarva yonishu kaunteya. Krishna is actually the father and mother of all the living entities, including our own children. So, we have to understand that every jiva is individual and has his own relationship with Krishna. And he has that jiva has his own free will. So we cannot force someone to become a devotee of Krishna. We cannot force our parents to become devotees of Krishna. Prahlad Maharaj's father, we all know who he was. Prahlad Maharaj tried preaching to him. He told him, my dear Asura Varya, Hitvatma Padam Grihamandakupam, give up this Andakupa you have fallen in, go to the forest, become a devotee of Vishnu. Directly he told him. Did Hiranyakashipu listen? He didn't listen. So what could Prahlad Maharaj do? He only preached. Whatever he had to do, he did his duty. Similarly, Hiranyakashipu was a son of Kashyapa Muni. Kashyapa Muni would also have preached to him, not that he would not have preached to him. But did he listen? He didn't listen. Ravana was a son of Vishrava Muni. He was a Muni. He was Munis, all Munis understand the supreme position of Vishnu. But Ravana became Ravana. His father could not help it. So as parents, within this material world, we have a duty towards the jiva who was somehow, according to his karma, he has been born into our family. We expose him to Krishna consciousness, we expose him to the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. It's up to that jiva to take it up or leave it. Because every jiva has his independent free will. We cannot force anyone. So, as a matter of duty, as a grihastha, we may teach our children, expose our children to Krishna consciousness. Not necessary that they will become Vaishnava. So look at all the children of Srila Prabhupada himself. How many of them became devotees? So that way you cannot force anyone. In fact, even the son of Vishnu himself, Varahadev and Bhumi's son was Narakasura. Asura means he is against Vishnu. So his own son became against him. Vishnu's son, forget about devotees' sons. So every jiva is independent, every jiva has free will. Krishna has given free will to everyone. We cannot force everyone. We can do our duty, expose them to Prabhupada's teachings, expose them to all the wonderful varieties of Krishna consciousness. Ultimately that jiva's free will which will finally matter. Because Krishna himself respects the free will of the jiva. As Krishna tells Arjuna at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Ete ichchasi tatha kuru. As you wish, you do. I leave it to you. Decision, whether you want to follow my instruction or not, I leave it to you. So, when Krishna respects the free will of the living entity, we also have to respect. So, we respect, but we do our duty, expose them to Krishna consciousness. As far as possible, we try to protect them from the influence of Maya. But ultimately, it is the free will, the choice of that jiva, whether to become a devotee of Krishna or not. Okay? Anything else? Yes, please.
Prabhu, on one hand we say that we need not worship the demigods.
Yes.
On the other hand, we follow the 12 Mahajanas, most of whom are demigods. So how do we understand this?
So, what is the controversy there?
So we have Lord Shiva, Brahma there,
Yes.
and we follow them.
Yeah.
In the course of following, we also worship.
Yeah, basically when Krishna condemns the worship of the devatas in the Bhagavad Gita, that kama istaiter hritajnana prapadyante anya devataha, only people whose intelligence has been stolen by lusty desires, they worship the devatas. What he means is, if we worship the devatas thinking that they are the supreme, then that is called spoilt intelligence. If you look at the Bhagavatam, even the gopis also worshipped Katyayani. But they worshipped Katyayani for what? For getting Krishna as their husband. The Nanda Maharaj and all the Gopas also worshipped. They observed Shivaratri. Of course, they were not regularly worshipping. They were not regularly observing. Bhagavatam says once. Just like that, they got a desire. Let us worship Lord Shiva on Shivaratri. What was their intention? Their intention was, for Krishna's welfare, Krishna, for our love for Krishna should be always there, and things like that. For the sake of Krishna, they did everything. When Kurukshetra, when the eclipse happened, all the Yadavas also went there, even the residents of Vrindavan also went there, and the residents of Vrindavan went to Kurukshetra and did a lot of charity. What was their intention in doing charity? Normal people, they do charity with the intention of earning punya, so that finally they can go to Swarga, they can have a happy life in the future and all that. But these Vrajavasis, they did this one, charity, they gave in charity, and when they were giving in charity, they were only saying, please bless Krishna so that he will always be happy, he will be nice, for his welfare let us do charity. Everything was revolving around Krishna. So for getting Krishna Bhakti, to become a devotee of Krishna, to ask the Devatas is not against the principles of Bhakti. But not that we become their devotees and start their regular worship and assume that they are the supreme person. Those things are not there. Even for that matter, when Dhruva Maharaj was fighting the Yakshas, and finally, based on the advice of Brahma and all those personalities, he stopped the fighting. Then Kubera asked him, I am very happy that you excused all the Yakshas, so do you want any benediction? So immediately Dhruva Maharaj folded his hands and said, please bless me that I will never forget the lotus feet of Krishna. So he is also worshipping a Devata like Kubera. But he is not worshipping Kubera and asking him, I want a lot of money. He is not worshipping Kubera thinking that he is the supreme personality of Godhead. And he is not worshipping Kubera every day. So happened, some situation happened, he got an opportunity to offer his obeisances and get a benediction. He said immediately, let me never forget Krishna. So a devotee doesn't become a regular worshipper of a Devata, number one. And number two, he does not fall under the illusion that this Devata is the supreme personality of Godhead, even if he happens to worship a Devata on a particular occasion. So that is how we have to understand this. And so I hope that answers the question. Is that okay? Yes, please.
Prabhu, like yesterday you said, Kadam, for any action or any activities, it requires austerity. Like
Yeah.
Kadama Muni's example, you get that he did 10,000.
Yes.
So what is the austerity for devotees, Prabhu? Because it's very simplified, Prabhupada.
As far as austerities, tapasya are concerned, there are two kinds of tapasya or vairagya. You can call it vairagya, you can call it tapasya. So one is called shushka vairagya, dry tapasya. And another is another variety of tapasya is what will generate bhakti for you in the heart. So the vairagya or the tapasya followed by great munis and rishis, either by dhyana yogis or by the jnana yogis. Both of them undergo tapasya. Jnana yogis, they give up all their families, they take sannyas, and they have to follow the strict vows of sannyasa, all that they have to follow. So they also undertake a lot of austerity. And if you look at Ashtanga yogis, they follow strict brahmacharya, they go to the forest, and they follow the process of pratyahara, dharana, etc. So they are also very strict tapasya to follow. But such kind of tapasya, what it does is, it dries up the heart. And what happens is, for such people to develop bhakti to Krishna, very difficult. On the other hand, the tapasyas which are given to us by our acharyas, by our spiritual master Srila Prabhupada, like we have to get up early in the morning for Mangalarati, we have to chant 16 malas every day, minimum, we have to follow Ekadashi Vrata, we have to follow fasting on Janmashtami. So all these kind of tapasyas which are given following the four regulative principles, these are also tapasya. So these tapasyas are different from the kind of tapasya undertaken by the Ashtanga yogis and by Jnana yogis and by Karma yogis. Sometimes the vairagya that they follow may appear very tough and very, far more severe than the kind of austerities we undergo. Even if we follow fasting on Ekadashi, on Dwadashi, there will be feasting. We fast on Janmashtami, but at 12 midnight there will be a big feast. So on the face of it appears, we are all sense gratifiers. If you compare with the tapasya of the Mayavadis and the impersonalists and all that. But then the tapasya that we follow is very powerful to generate bhava bhakti in our heart. If we follow the tapasya given by our acharyas, it may appear something very simple, not very strict and very austere like that of the other yogis. But what it does is, instead of giving us dry vairagya from the material world, it will give us taste for bhakti for Krishna. So all these tapasyas given by our acharyas, whatever Srila Prabhupada has advised for us, in terms of following our morning sadhana, 1 hour reading, and hearing Bhagavatam every day. You know, we have to sit through half an hour, 1 hour of Bhagavatam lecture, not easy. That's also an austerity. So, but then, if you follow all these things, following Ekadashi Vrata, following this one, Janmashtami and other such festivals, Gaur Purnima, all these things we observe, it will generate Bhava Bhakti in the heart. That is the power of all these austerities. So, they are not to be underestimated, and there is great value for these tapasyas that Srila Prabhupada has recommended that we have to follow. So, bhaktya sanjataya bhaktya, that is what the Bhagavatam says. That by following this process of Vaidhi Bhakti, bhaktya, sanjataya bhaktya, it will generate bhava bhakti within the heart. So, this Vaidhi Bhakti process is not an ordinary thing, although it may appear very simple, not so austere, some little things we have to do. But it has got great value, because if we strictly follow them, it will generate bhava bhakti within the heart. May not generate, may not be the right word. It will awaken the bhava bhakti within, which is dormant within our heart. So that is the difference between the austerities which are undertaken by other yogis and by what process has been given to us by Srila Prabhupada. Is that okay? Reading Prabhupada's books, you know, all simple things. It appears on the face of it, but very, very powerful. The result that they can give is very exalted. All the other yogi processes, no matter how much of that austerity you follow, it will not generate that bhava bhakti in our heart. That's the difference. That okay? So we'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada